All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
Coming up, we'll tell you if it's time to take the Cowboys seriously in the NFC.
And if the Browns were really thinking about hiring Condoleezza Rice. But we start every day with a Whitlock. So what you got today, big dog?
If I'm Patrick Mahomes and Todd Gurley, and I want a shot at winning the MVP this season, they better do something extraordinary tonight. My guy Mahomes might want to play the entire game throwing the ball left-handed. Gurley should think about taking some snaps from under center and maybe playing safety on defense. It's going to take something really wild to stop Drew Brees from winning his first MVP award. Drew Brees is the best player on the best team in football. No one can dispute that after yesterday. Remember when Mike Tyson stormed across the ring and beat the brakes off Michael Spinks? That's what the Saints did to the defending world champions yesterday. They made the Philadelphia Eagles look like a college team, a team fighting out of its weight class. Alabama had more trouble with the Citadel than the Saints had beating Philadelphia 48-7. The Saints have won 9 straight. They've scored 40 or more points in 6 of their last 10 games. Their average margin in victory in their last 9 wins is 16 points. This is potentially a historically great football team, and it's being led by a historically great quarterback having a historically great season. Brees is on track to break Aaron Rodgers' record for the highest passer rating for a season. Brees has thrown 25 touchdown passes and just 1 interception. He's completing 77% of his passes. Mahomes is likely to throw for more yards and more TDs this season than Brees. But what separates Brees from Mahomes is the single INT through 10 games. Mahomes enters tonight's contest with 7 interceptions. Mahomes is the future of the NFL. Brees is the right now. He's the best quarterback in the league, and when the best quarterback in the league is playing on the best team in the league, that quarterback should win the MVP. Hate to say it, but Gurley simply plays the wrong position at the wrong time. Short of rushing for 2,000 yards and or going for 1,000 receiving yards, Gurley's not even a legitimate candidate this year, given what Brees and Mahomes are doing. But this race is over. Brees took a commanding lead yesterday. Right now, Brees is playing the QB position as good as we've ever seen it played. It's over. He's the MVP. All right, joining the desk now are Fox NFL analysts Tony Gonzalez and Michael Vick. Marcellus, I'll start with you. Is the MVP race over?
No, it's not over. And you got the Vegas hangover. Boy, what happened to you this weekend? What you do? Had that long weekend because we were off for Friday. And you, the journalist, has lost all his journalistic integrity when you're talking about this conversation. I've noticed you over the last couple of weeks do what most people are doing right now, which is because Patrick Mahomes was the front runner, because Patrick Mahomes jumped out to this huge lead, almost lapped the field, that now you got bored with that story.
No.
So now you're starting to poke holes at that same story. It happens in so many facets of life. We start to attack who's at the top. And we're now rooting for Drew Brees, who in a vacuum is having an amazing season. I will preface, he's having an amazing season. But the renaissance of the New Orleans Saints and even Drew Brees these last couple of years didn't start with Drew Brees. It started with the running game. How did they also emerge as now this contending team, put up all these points? It's because they're asking less of Drew Brees. You're talking about completion percentage, and you're talking about interceptions. You don't want to talk about touchdowns and yards, which every quarterback raises their hands first to say, I want to lead the league in those categories. They're having Drew Brees go out there and give them fewer attempts. They're asking Drew Brees right now, if he stays on pace, this is going to be his eighth best season in terms of yardage per game. You know what that means?
Less is more.
Less of Drew Brees is more for the Saints. And that is not an MVP definition. An MVP definition is it starts and stops with you. That's Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City.
Mike?
16 weeks, man. I mean, you got to get through 16 games before you determine who's going to be the MVP. Now, I like where Drew Brees is right now because he's shown that he's even better than what he was 5 or 6 years ago. And he's looking to get even better. And, you know, you never know what can happen next week. I mean, Patrick Mahomes can go out and light it up tonight. He can go out and have a great game next week and the week after. And
if you had to vote today.
I mean,
if you had to vote today.
You mean tonight
if I had
after
to
the
vote
game?
tonight,
No, if you had to vote
if I had
right
to vote
now.
today, Drew Brees hands down.
What?
Like, he's
Thank
having
you.
an unbelievable season.
Thank you.
Completing almost, 70% of his passes.
Did you go to Vegas too?
Over.
What is going on?
I stay away from Vegas.
What is going on?
Right
California
now,
for a lot
he's
of
on Drew Brees,
Can he
Tony,
play
right
tonight?
now.
Oh, I think right now, absolutely. Not without question, but right now for sure. Patrick Mahomes, don't get me wrong. You know I love some Kansas City Chiefs, and I love Patrick Mahomes, especially what's going on out there collectively as a team, too. But right now, it's Drew Brees, to me. Yeah. And what he's doing, first in the league in completion percentage, QBR, his interceptions to touchdown ratio. He's playing out of his mind, and he's elevating the play of everybody else. Not that Patrick Mahomes doesn't do that. That's why they're both in the consideration for MVP. But you saw this the game yesterday. The rookie, Traquan Smith, was balling, making unbelievable catches. He's putting that ball so perfect and so consistent. You know he's not going to turn the ball over. I think the conversation goes even further, and I went out there earlier this year and met with and did an interview, a sit-down with Drew Brees. He is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I think after this season, after he wins his MVP, I would say he's going to win it this year because I don't see that train slowing down at all. He needs to start being in that conversation with Tom Brady, with Aaron Rodgers, with Peyton Manning as one of the top 3, top 4 quarterbacks of all time. Forget about this, and now he's a top 10, top 15. After he gets his MVP season, he is going to be a top quarterback of all time. You can put him in that argument.
And that's what's fueling this conversation. And that's what I think is unfortunate and it's undermining Patrick Mahomes right now because everyone wants to take this Drew Brees conversation and make it bigger. They want to say Lifetime Achievement Award. They want to say, no, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. We're like, dude, give me one calendar year, one season worth of performance. Who's playing better between the white lines? Patrick Mahomes is winning the sports bar conversation, which is, hey, dog, who's playing better, Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes? Patrick Mahomes, why? More touchdowns, more yards. Okay, then you start hitting me with these subcategories. Well, completion percentage and interception to touchdown ratios. And he's like, wait a minute, who is putting up the numbers and is leading their team? You look at Drew Brees on this team, by rush percentage, which is a subcategory. They're asking their running backs to be 3rd best in the league in terms of number of carries. Versus when you see Patrick Mahomes, there's like 16th. They're asking Patrick Mahomes in game plan, win us the game. They're asking Drew Brees in game plan, abbreviate a little of you so we can have more of our running game, and that's how we're going to have success.
Well, you're going to have to do what your coaches dictate, but I think when you look at Drew Brees at the age of 39 being able to do this, I think
Another story.
I think that's
another story.
Listen, it's just
Come on,
it's
y'all.
remarkable. I mean,
I disagree
25
with that,
touchdowns to one interception that's amazing.
I don't want to put age on it. If Drew Brees was 25
Thank you.
and doing what he's doing right now, leading a historically great team and offense. And again, I'm taking no shots. I want to be clear. I'm taking no shots at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is playing incredible. He just happens to be doing it the same year Drew Brees is arguably going to have one of maybe the greatest quarterback season ever. By quarterback rating, how they put their little magic together, right now he's on pace to break Aaron Rodgers' record. If he finishes this year with just 1 or 2 interceptions and 40 touchdowns, and they finish 15-1 in the NFC, given they played the the Rams, their schedule, the NFC South is tough. To me, it's more difficult than the AFC West. No shots at Patrick Mahomes. Incredible. But Drew Brees right now.
Whitlock, let's grade Drew Brees by Drew Brees' standard. He's had 7 more seasons with more yards per game than he has this year. We're acting like he's doing something that is so unrealistic, and it is, except when you look at him by his own performance standards. And you're like, oh, this is Drew Brees, maybe plus in an interception conversation, but by a lot of other major statistical categories, this is typical Drew Brees. Matter of fact, it's abbreviated Drew Brees, and that's no shot at him. But look, Fox may own the Lifetime channel because you guys up here right now talking about, hey, we got this tremendous story we're going to put out here.
I agree with you.
And y'all selling the pilot.
I agree with you right now. Yes, according to Drew Brees standards, this isn't his best year statistic. Well, I think the QBR and the quarterback ratio, that will be, but yards certainly not because he doesn't have to anymore. He's got that running game. And And because that running game is so effective, he is able to be more effective. And I think you can always look at it both ways. You got a good running game, just like Patrick Mahomes does. Let's not forget about that. When you got a running back who can get you yards consistently, but you're also shredding people with your arm, they have to drop out of there. You can't just sit back and say, we're going to stop the run because Drew Brees will absolutely murder you. And that's what I think is happening right now. You got these running backs. I did the highlights yesterday. A couple of these plays, it is not that many people at that line of scrimmage. These running backs are hitting. They got to make one guy miss, and they're off to the races.
Right.
Because everybody has to drop out of there because you have to cover these guys. Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith. But Drew is going to find them and exploit them.
6 more games to go, man. You just got to let it all play out. This is the NFL. You never know what can happen. So you can't put a stamp on it right now. I want to see what happens during the duration.
To that point, though, why are you guys voting before even Patrick Mahomes gets on prime time television and gets his in tonight?
We'll see what he does.
You said
tonight.
vote right now.
That's because we're in the right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to be in the moment. Again, tomorrow we'll have a different conversation, and we'll see what happens tonight. Listen, I was sitting here beating my brains trying to think of a rap album analogy, and I couldn't come up with the rapper. I'm just going to... This is Michael Jackson coming out with Thriller, man.
Ooh.
And so Michael Jackson had already laid it down as a young dude with the Jackson 5. He had already had other albums. And then this dude came out with Thriller, and you just had to say, you know what, we got to rewrite this whole thing. He done put out Thriller. Elvis, you just got dusted off. Everybody just got dusted off. This is this dude's Thriller album, and it's great that Patrick Mahomes, I think Guns N' Roses may have had an album out at the same time, but don't nobody remember it like Thriller, man.
You know what? Well, like you got the wrong co-host right here.
Go ahead.
The DJ.
I know.
Because you know what happens when you put out Thriller, it sells worldwide, the biggest album ever in sales, and then someone taps Michael Jackson and says, and that ain't even your best album. Off the Wall was better than Thriller. So look at this. Drew Brees, amazing year. I love you too. Guess what, Drew Brees? Hey, this ain't even your best year, bro. So if you look at Drew Brees by his own comparisons, Michael Jackson by his own comparisons of work, this is not the best Drew Brees. Why this year? Because he's getting older. Because we know the time is running out. Yeah. We are championing for this guy to be the MVP, when in reality, we know who's the front runner by merit. Forget birth certificate, forget storyline. He's the guy that you should give the award to. I understand Drew Brees is amazing, but this is not even the best Drew Brees, bro.
You think so? So Leonardo DiCaprio, he got Oscar a couple, whatever, for that, where he went to the bear. No, he didn't get it for Titanic.
The Revenant.
The Revenant, he got it for that one. A lot of people are saying his better performances had come before. Yeah. I don't, it's still good. Clint Eastwood got one for Unforgiven, and people are saying he got it because of this. I think right now, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But at the same time, you can't deny what he's doing.
Tony, I know you're an actor for real, because you gave me all that opera, all that drama, all that. That's categories where it's subjective. When it's like, voters, come here. We have no numbers, no metrics. Let's see who had the better performance. We are talking football. There are actual numbers. There's an actual science. There's a way to rate this.
Yeah, they call it QB rating.
No, well, they
and he's killing it.
And turnovers.
Turnovers is huge. But come on now. You play quarterback. Lose 100 pounds, play quarterback right now. You ready? Touchdowns more important, yes, than the interception percentage? Of course.
No.
Oh, my
Turnovers.
Yes.
Touchdown to interception ratio is the stat.
But the ratio, yeah, I respect that you're saying the ratio, but which one's more important? You got to put up the touchdowns first before we even get into the conversation. How many interceptions? You want to know how many touchdowns first. Get me scoreboard points before you start saying how many times you give the ball
Marcellus,
away.
You sound like a fan. Coaches are sitting there saying, if they got a choice between a quarterback that has 31 touchdowns and one that has 25, but one of them only has one interception, the coach is going with the guy with the one interception.
Respect that.
Depends on how the interceptions happen, too. Some come from tip balls. I mean, some come from balls being deflected, guys hitting off guys and hitting guys in the chest.
Mike.
And we're talking about 7.
Interceptions is like,
Mike.
It's not irrelevant unless it costs you the game. What's most important is getting that ball into the end zone and throwing the touchdown. So I respect Drew Brees for the touchdowns that he's thrown. Patrick Mahomes has thrown a bunch of touchdown passes. What happens if he goes out and throws 5 of them tonight? Then what we saying tomorrow?
Maybe
I'm staying the same deal. It's Drew Brees. Quickly, just here. What's a better story? Patrick Mahomes becoming the MVP and considered the best quarterback in the league, or Drew Brees at 39 winning his first MVP and having the best season of a quarterback ever? What's a better story?
I mean, numbers are good. I mean, the better story probably would be Drew Brees at the end of the day. But I think for Drew, if it's capped off with a Super Bowl, then
The reason
there
I'm
you go.
asking you the question is just, again, you were part of the guys that blazed the trail for black quarterbacks. And Patrick Mahomes might end up like, wow. Again, we had Cam Newton win the MVP, but I don't think anybody ever thought Cam was the best quarterback. They thought he was the MVP, but not the best quarterback. Patrick Mahomes may ascend to that status.
Yeah.
What's a better story? Mahomes, Drew Brees.
I think Drew Brees at the end of the day.
Wrong.
Because of his age.
That's exactly why he's not the better story. If
think
Drew
it's a better
Brees
story.
wins the MVP, you have to resell the MVP trophy next year because you know he's coming to an end. With Patrick Mahomes, you're selling not only now, but the future. The NFL model is selling not just proven talent, but potential. Rookie cards, rookie contract. They sell imagination. You get Patrick Mahomes right now in the MVP award, you're set for the next 10, 20 years in terms of an NFL and MVP performance. You sell it to Drew Brees, guess what you got? A year or two, and then you got to resell it to someone else.
I like it. I'm going Drew Brees. Drew Brees. He's under 6 foot, too.
Oh, well.
For the short people out there. They need that. They need a little hero.
Time for a big story. Whitlock and Wiley, Tony Gonzalez, and Michael Vick are back. Let's move to the Cowboys, who moved to 5-5 on the year with a big win over the Falcons in Atlanta. Dallas got some late-game heroics from Dak Prescott, who led the offense down the field for a game-winning field goal. And with the Redskins' future uncertain after losing Alex Smith for the year, the Cowboys are very much in the postseason hunt. So much so, I think that Jerry Jones deserves a lot of credit for building this Dallas team, a complete Dallas team, into a team that I think can actually win a playoff game. I think this Amari Cooper deal that some people thought, hey, they gave up too much to get Amari Cooper, I think is working. I think if you look at the stats for Dak Prescott before Amari Cooper and then with Amari Cooper, his production's all up. The Cowboys are a series. I think they're the favorite in the NFC East, and I think they're a team you don't want to see in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would certainly say that they have life, they have juice. If I'm one of those players, I'm believing in our team right now because it's a suppressed division. And the best team in the division, by record, the Redskins, look, they just lost their quarterback. So now you have to look at that team being more one-dimensional. And the Cowboys have life, especially on the defensive side. I don't want to give Dak too much credit. I thought it was a smart move to bring in Cooper. What does that do? It takes that safety out the box. It makes you have to respect the deep game, whether he catches the ball or not. Just respect that so Zeke can have more running lanes. Dak Prescott still didn't have a passing touchdown yesterday. You know, respect to what he is doing, which is protecting the football. We had that conversation about Drew Brees. Now, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, interesting. They are 21-2 when he doesn't turn the ball over. Goodness.
Yeah.
And he's done that 23 of his 43 games. So more games than not, Dak Prescott's like, I'm not giving you the ball. So that's their winning formula. Play defense and have Zeke run the game and manage the game. Dak Prescott so far is keeping them alive in that suppressed division.
The only reason they've been able to manage the games is because of Zeke coming alive. I mean, the move that they made with Amari Cooper really opened things up. And, you know, we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, how a run game changed the dynamic of everything that goes on in the offense. Probably one of the most important positions in football, just like the receiver position. Amari Cooper opens everything up. Zeke gets his yards. Dak plays a little bit better. He got to continue that and continue to find that level of consistency. And the defense complements everything else. I mean, they can be a contender. They just have to take it one game at a time and find ways to pull out the tough wins because it's a tough road ahead. They got to stretch where they got to win some games, but that's going to be the telltale sign.
Yeah, I love it. You know, hats off to Jerry. I guess he's starting to look a lot better than at least what I thought. I put myself out there. But at the same time, it's still the only knock I'm going to have on this team is Dak. That still comes down to that. Can he win a Super Bowl? They got a Super Bowl caliber defense. They got a Super Bowl type running game. But he's going to have to make some plays and not be able to win games by not throwing touchdown passes in the playoffs, especially coming down the stretch. So that's the only thing that still concerned me. But this is something they should have been doing for a long time. Maybe Amari Cooper is what has helped them get over that hump, play great defense, run the ball. But they're not like the Giants. The Giants won 2 games in a row. They beat San Francisco and they beat Tampa Bay. Beating the Falcons and holding that Falcons offense in that dome Matt Ryan is playing really well this season, and telling what they scored 19 points. That defense is for real. They can win some games if they don't turn the ball over, like everything you just said.
People love to criticize Jerry Jones. He's a bit of a punching bag because he's out there. He's a big personality. I've been someone that's like, hey, man, let's pump the brakes. You know, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason, and I get that Jimmy Johnson was terrific early on. But you know, you don't get rich and stay rich because you're an idiot. You can learn some lessons. And again, and listen, I've been sitting here, and I probably will continue to criticize Jason Garrett. I think he's too loyal to Jason Garrett. But maybe there's a method to Jerry's loyalty in terms of consistency and continuity being important. And maybe like I'm sitting here saying, you know, the rest of the team is blossoming. Why can't we wait and see if Dak and even Jason Garrett, 7, 8 years in, maybe they continue to grow and blossom?
Yeah, it's the Moneyball method hitting the NFL if you look at what Jason Garrett is a part of, which is this scheme. The scheme is build an offensive line. And we know offensive linemen don't get paid handsomely like a quarterback will, even though they get paid. And then you look at a defense. Let's build it up through the draft and defense. He built offensive line, defense, and running game. Running backs are also minimized in terms of value in today's NFL. But who gets all the money? Quarterback. What do we need at that position? Someone who has a suppressed value. The Seattle Seahawks were able to do this on the rookie contract of Russell Wilson. And it's interesting, his model right now is coming to fruition because he built it. He's the one that went out there and drafted these players, all pros at the offensive line position, running back. Now you got defensive standouts. And all he needs now is Dak to manage the game. Look at these numbers. Third in points allowed, this defense is. Like you said, that's Super Bowl winning football on the defensive side. And then if you look at it, they've allowed 20 or fewer points in 7 of their 10 ball games. 7. All we ask for you, Dak, touchdown here or there. Zeke, give us 2. We got that game. And that's their winning formula. And Jerry Jones deserves all that credit.
The thing I'll say about Jerry Jones, I think he tries to duplicate what he did, the team he assembled in the 90s. Now, not comparing Dak to Troy Aikman, but he had Aikman, he had Emmett, he had Irvin. You know, I think you got Dak, you got Zeke, you had Dez, and now he brings in Amari Cooper. He understands that those 3 key components can get you to where you need to be, and I see him try to take on that trend every year, even with the offensive line. You think about the guys he had back in the 90s.
Big time.
So he tries to model the team after that, I think, year after year, and he's getting really close, and it's working out.
Dak has never shown Troy Aikman's accuracy, so I don't want to sound like I'm comparing.
Show some in
Dak.
16. I see Tony second.
Yeah. Troy, I don't want to.
That's why I made sure I said no comparison to Aikman.
No.
Anyone to Aikman.
But I'll say this about Aikman wasn't the flashiest quarterback of that era.
That's true.
Consistent.
You know, he was accurate, more accurate than Dak, but he wasn't putting up the huge numbers and things like that. And Troy wasn't asked to go out and win every game. He might have been asked to finish some games. But I agree with you, Mike. I do believe this is a knockoff of what they did in the 90s. And you know, Jerry Jones may get it done without Jimmy Johnson this time. I want to end the segment by shouting out my guy, Alex Smith. Tragic injury. Wish you well. You had a great career. Maybe it'll continue, maybe it won't. Alex, we're thinking about you. Tony Gonzalez and Michael Vick are back. Let's move to Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson made his debut as a starting quarterback yesterday and got a big win over divisional rival Cincinnati. Not surprisingly, Jackson ran the ball a ton, finishing with 117 yards on 27 carries, the most carries by a quarterback in the Super Bowl era. But afterwards, Bengals coach Marvin Lewis wasn't impressed, saying, quote, "Quarterbacks don't run forever in the NFL." I kind of agree with Marvin and felt like John Harbaugh went out with a game plan to save his job, not to develop his quarterback. And they ran the option. I mean, that was Bo Schembechler. You know, Harbaugh, John Harbaugh is from Ann Arbor, like, you know, his family, Jim, his brother, played at Michigan. That looked like Bo Schembechler and Rick Leach out there running the option quarterback. I'm going to tell you who it's just, this was Black Tim Tebow. That's what this was. And I just don't know. I agree with Marvin Lewis. I just don't know if that's sustainable in the NFL, what they put him through and what they asked him to do. I don't think they allowed him to look more than 10 yards downfield.
They're going to look down there?
Yeah, anything,
What's down
anything
there?
beyond 10 yards, he know nothing about.
That's the elephant graveyard in the Lion King. Don't look there, Simba. Don't go there, Simba.
So I just don't think it's sustainable what they had Lamar Jackson do, but it may have been the only thing they could have him do.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. Let's be real, man. I think as a defensive coordinator, you came into that game, you couldn't imagine that they would run their quarterback, even as a running quarterback, 27 times. So guess what now? What happens? Every defensive coordinator said, we're going to load that box and force you to throw this football. And good luck trying to run against that loaded box, and good luck trying to throw against our press man coverage. And that's where they are right now. That was short-term success and short-sighted. However, I got to give the Baltimore Ravens respect and credit for something I've heard a lot of players, including myself, have an issue with when you talk about coaching philosophies, which is coach my abilities and cater to my abilities instead of forcing me into your game plan and playbook all the time. We all know the NFL can have an old school mindset, which is, hey, play it our way or else. I got into situations where I played Y9 for those football people, Dwight Freeney style. Then I got a new defense coordinator, play 7-6-5 technique. I'm like, why am I lined up on the tight end? Let me be outside him. Well, we want balance. Next thing you know, production suffers if you're not comfortable. I love a Baltimore game plan that said, it may be short-sighted, but let's play to your comfort and your skill set. Respect for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that game plan yesterday will only exist yesterday. Like, you'll never be able to go out and duplicate that again. Like you say, it's going to be 8-man boxes from here on out, but this is what it gives Lamar Jackson the chance to do. Work on becoming a better passer. Now, next week, you'll have to go out and you'll have to pass the football, and then you complement it with your run game. But, 27 runs is, like, entirely too much. The focus has to be on getting better, as a passer, spreading the ball around and not creating a situation where things get compressed and compact, because that box will be loaded next week, and it'll be hard to go out and try to run the football the same way that they did yesterday.
Yeah, well, I think if you look no further than the guy who's on his team, RG3. You can't do that. You are going to get blasted in this league, and it's coming next week. I still don't know how good Lamar Jackson is because you can't tell from that film. That was one thing. That is an isolated moment. Maybe he'll have 10 carries next week if the Baltimore Ravens are treating this kid right. Otherwise, they missed in the draft on him is what I would say, because you can't do this. You are going to get hurt in this league. And that's a short answer. There's nothing else to say about it. You cannot do that, Baltimore, if you want to develop this kid and be a quarterback of your future.
I'm not convinced that it's over. They got away with, trust me, it's like a burglar. When he gets away with a crime, I'm going to do that again.
I'll be back.
Yeah. And so they don't catch him until he's done about 10 burglaries.
Right.
Before they ever catch him. And so, look, man, they just won a game. And John Harbaugh is fighting for his life.
Yeah, point.
They will do this again. He'll have to get carted off in order for them to stop, because that's what happens in the NFL. Look, I'm going to take it a little bit off of John Harbaugh. This is what Lamar Jackson wants to do right now.
Right now, yeah.
Because RG3, they didn't want him to do it in Washington, but it's what he was comfortable with. Again, Mike, when I never, certainly I never had your legs. None of us here had your legs. But those legs could solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And it can bait you into, hey, man, got a problem? Let me fix it with my legs.
Mentally, you can say, I can take over this game with your legs, but I never came into a game with that thought. And I never had a game plan that looked like that. Marty Morningwig, I give him credit because he was a pass-happy guy when I was in Philly, so I know he can take it there. But in regards to what he did yesterday, I thought it was a beautiful game plan. It worked. The Cincinnati Bengals did not expect that. They didn't even know who the starter was going to be.
Yeah.
So, for them to go back and take a look at that, they got to pull a lot from that game plan, but definitely enhance it.
Mike,
way
you just
further.
said something very fascinating. I wonder if this whole stomach ache and Lamar not playing, if that was a smokescreen. Because that's why Marvin Lewis is very upset. It's like, you can't do that they were caught with their pants down.
Interesting. I mean, look, you said it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And in NFL, you just try to win that game that week. We're not talking big picture. We don't have to worry about it. Right now, this is a playoff team. Look at them. Now they get to play the Raiders next week. The Raiders. Poor rush defense. We're going to test you, Raiders. Load the box. You've loaded the box before and not been successful. We're going to load the box against you. Michael Vick, here's some trivia for you. The most rush attempts you ever had in a game, I had to look this up.
15.
You already know. Michael Vick, 15.
Yeah.
He doubled Michael Vick in one game in his first year. And he ain't gonna laugh.
And this is something, I always talk about my kids. I took my kid, Nico, back in the day. I took him to one of those fishing ponds that you pay money to go into. And every time you throw it in, you catch something nice and big. And then I went with another buddy of mine on the team. He said, that's the worst thing you could have ever done to your kid. And he was like 8 years old at the time. Because every time he throws it in there, he thinks he's going to catch a fish, which is not fishing.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, I hope you understand, buddy, this isn't how the NFL goes. 15 carries, and that's the highest ever for Michael Vick, the human highlight film. There is no way, if he thinks anything about that was reality, he is surely mistaken, and he is going to get his butt kicked.
Lit up.
You all have said something very fascinating, Tony and Mike, though. That game plan tells you what the Baltimore Ravens think about him as a passer.
They've seen it.
They're looking at him in practice every day, and they came up with a game plan that says we're not going to do this with this kid. Because once he threw that interception, they went even more into a shell.
Did you see that interception too?
Yeah.
I'm a run. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. No, I'm not. Throw it.
And he made an amazing move. And it got missed. I mean, it was beautiful. I like it.
Time to put on our thinking caps. Tony Gonzalez is back. We're joined now by NBA champion Dante Jones. As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Columbia's very own Marcellus Wiley.
Proceed.
We're going to take a deeper look into some issues in sports. All right, Darnell, bring out Marcellus's cap.
This is our highest IQ rating
It
as
really
a
is.
group.
I'm bringing it
Cal,
down.
Duke.
I brought it up.
Yeah, I brought him.
Columbia's cool.
Yeah,
Bro.
you,
Oh, that's messed up.
y'all going to make up for my Ball State.
And then Ball State.
Yeah, they'll ball. The Ivy of the Midwest. The Ivy of the Mid-American Conference.
I've heard that.
All right, get that cap on, man. What are you doing? All right,
Here we go.
let's move to Cleveland, where a crazy report surfaced yesterday with ESPN's Adam Schefter claiming the Browns were considering interviewing former Secretary of State and lifelong Browns fan Condoleezza Rice as their next head coach. It didn't take long for the team to deny this obviously bogus story, and Rice issued a denial of her own, though not without a little unsolicited advice for the league, saying, quote, I love my Browns, and I know they will hire an experienced coach to take us to the next level. On a more serious note, I do hope that the NFL will start to bring women into the coaching profession as position coaches and eventually coordinators and head coaches. One doesn't have to play the game to understand it and motivate players, but experience counts, and it is time to develop a pool of experienced women coaches. All right, I heard the report yesterday, and then I saw where a guy I really respect, Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports, wrote a column saying that, Condoleezza Rice isn't going to happen, but the NFL needs to hire women for prominent roles, and it's a market that goes untapped. I don't want to sound like a caveman or Fred Flintstone or whatever, but I'm just going to keep it 100. As a guy that made his bones in football, if there was a story that came out that said, hey, the Browns are considering Jason Whitlock as head coach, that would be laughable to me. And I would be ridiculed, and the Browns would be ridiculed, and anybody who put the report out would be ridiculed because it's preposterous. And I know a little bit about football, but I'm not remotely qualified to be a coach. So I just go, how the hell did this story even get reported by Adam Schefter and ESPN? Because the first thing you do as a journalist is like, well, hold on, someone's told me something crazy. Let me check with the Browns. Let me check with Condoleezza Rice. And when they tell me it's crazy, then I never report it. So there's an agenda at play. And so when I look at Wetzel's story and the conversation that's going to come out, now the solution to the NFL is we have to inject the NFL with people that haven't played the game. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep it, as a black man, I'm looking at former players that can't move up the coaching ladder, and we're not even on stable footing as it relates to coaching in the NFL as black former players and people involved in the game, but we're about to start a movement so that people that haven't played the game at all can get these jobs. It irritates me. I'm sorry.
A lot to digest there. One, let's start here. If you're really for equality, which is trying to get equal footing as a black player in this league who can move up as a coach, executive, maybe even to ownership, that is not an isolated plight. You can't isolate your own experience and say, make us of equal footing, but not others who don't have the same respect.
Who haven't played the game.
Oh, well, Todd Haley didn't play either, but, you know, he's OC.
Played in high school.
Well, okay. Well, there are women who have played. There is a professional women's football league. I've been to the games. So Condoleezza Rice is not obviously a part of that, but there are women who have played the game. Here's the thing. In totality, if you look at it, our fan base who consume the game, we're all fans now. No more playing here, no more playing there, no more playing there. 45% of that fan base are women. 45%. So the NFL is just as a business. Remember, before sport, it's business, entertainment product. It's smart for them to start to say, let's open our arms up to not just black, not just minority, but woman. And she's a double minority on top of that. So I think it's a healthy agenda, even if you have pointed out accurately that it is more agenda-based. I'm for that agenda. I'm for celebrating your existence that is reflective of what your fans are, and nothing wrong with that.
I'm a person who believes that diversity and inclusion is great for business. So I see where there's a place for women in football in executive levels, in the organization as a whole. I don't understand how it comes to play in the coaching capacity, especially as a head coach capacity, because when you have to get the trust of the players have to believe in your ability to understand the game from an applied perspective. And most of the times that is the case. So I want to see how we can get a set of women trained in the capacity to be able to have applied knowledge so they can get the respect of the players to be able to have a head coaching position. I'm asking you guys in your sport, because in basketball, we have our professional league, which is a professional league that is well respected. And you have people like Sue Bird, Nancy Lieberman-Klein. You have people who have done a great job in that league and have been experts at their respective sports, and the guys have an opportunity to see their work and respect them. Becky Hammond, as we have with the Spurs, guys know how great they were with their sport. So that is a part of them getting respect on that level from the players. And I want to know if there's a possibility on the NFL level from you guys, because you guys have that applied knowledge.
Yeah, well, just like Marcellus said, there are professional women's leagues, and I've gone to a game out in Long Beach, and that's all. And these women are hitting too. They take it very seriously.
I'm not joking. Are we talking about football or lingerie football?
No, not the lingerie football.
Both.
No, this is real football pads.
I'm a supporter of the game.
Entertainment.
I know some of their players.
But this story yesterday is click bait. Okay, it's when I'm looking on YouTube sometime and I say they found aliens, proof of alien, and I'll click on it and I'm like, man, that wasn't even a real story, whatever it is. Obviously this wasn't a real story, but as she took it further and she said she would love to see the inclusion. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't care. I would not care. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care if you are an alien, want to coach football. If you can do the job right and I trust you and you can get us wins and bring out the best in us, I don't care. I'm California. I'm from this area, liberal. This is nothing new to me. I don't care about this stuff. Come one, come all, and let's have a good time and win.
I'm not against it, but throw out a candidate with some qualifications.
I agree.
My mother's more qualified than Condoleezza Rice. Condoleezza Rice, my mother's been to Little League football games, junior high football games, high school football games, college football games. She's followed the game much more intimately than Condoleezza Rice, who has no kids.
But your mama ain't on the college football playoff committee. Your mama wasn't there watching them games.
That's another agenda-given position. She don't have any expertise in college football. That just looks good on paper. Listen,
observation of the game and knowing what you're watching and being able to talk about that is not qualification?
Let's keep it 1,000% real.
Always.
1,000% real. 90% of the dudes don't know what they watching when they watching football.
Okay.
90% of the dudes.
And I've been forced to have to play under some of those dudes. And so I'm saying, look, look, a former player, this is the difference between you being a former player as my coach and you never playing the game at all. If you're a former player, I already have a built-in trust with you. You have to start to lose that. If you have never played a game, I look at you, you're out of shape, just looks like you don't know what you're talking about. You have to build that trust. But like Tony said, I am open-minded for both, as long as you put me in proper position to succeed.
From the position of a former player, also, they understand the expectations they hold for their players. So if they ask you to do something, they know that it's possible.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you have people who have never played the sport and don't have the applied knowledge, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're asking people to do something that you do not know how to do, have never tried it, have just you're telling me, and that's where some coaches fail at because they can't gain the respect from the players because they're saying that this is not possible and you show me how you did it before.
Well, Bill Belichick, look, I'm not going to take a shot at anybody who didn't make it pro because we know how unique that opportunity
have the empathy.
But he played center and tight end at Wesleyan. Like, if you give me that.
That's football.
That's football. That's
okay,
going out,
respect,
putting
but I'm
pads on.
using your words against you. If you're saying don't tell me something that is not physically able to be done, and I know that you have never done it, Bill Belichick, because one, you playing out of position. You ever seen Bill Belichick? Does he look like a center to you? I'm just saying, I can. If we gonna go there on her, I can go there on the greatest coach of all
I'm
time.
saying from respect of the players, though, from you guys, from you saying, you know what?
Right, I'm open to it.
If can we practice 5 hours? Have you ever practiced 5 hours before? Can you? I had a coach tell me, you know, we got a 4-hour practice with one 30-minute water break.
Yeah.
1 30-second water break.
Gotcha.
My body can't handle that. You can't, and you don't know that my body can't handle that. Like
But what do you do when your coach that is proof, Bill Parcells, is out there for triple days?
So I'm asking, how do we train women to get the applied knowledge to be able to get the respect of the players?
I want to go just to here's my. You know, I love football, and I make no excuse. I got a bias for football. And I just feel like football's being picked on for these agenda-riddled stories. Because, again, why are we having this discussion in football when we could be having it in baseball? I'm sure there are a lot of women who played softball who can manage baseball games. Why aren't we having this discussion there? Why have we gone to, hey, Condoleezza Rice was Secretary of State, and they put her on this college football committee, she can be an NFL head coach. Why aren't we talking about some woman who played baseball at a low level, softball or baseball at a low level, high level? Why aren't we talking about her managing a baseball game?
That's easy.
That's
easy. The answer's easy.
What?
Click. Nobody wants football's the king.
Yes,
that's all there is to it. Nobody's gonna care.
You.
Say that, and I'm like, it won't pick up stories. Then Adam Schefter can't say that, so he can get people to click on it. And ESPN can okay it. Yeah, let's go for it, so we can click on it. That they don't care. It's all about being first. It's all about being first and saying something ridiculous, which is what it is. Don't get me wrong, Connor. You have to have experience in the game. I said, I don't mind. I don't care who comes and coaches me, but you better have been there, done that, so I can trust you, and you better know what you're talking about, because I'm going to see right through you very, very quickly. And as soon as I lose trust, I am off the train with you, and I want you gone.
Yeah, that answer, look, here's the rundown, Whitlock. Where's baseball? When we gonna talk about baseball? Ain't no damn baseball on our show. No show's talking about baseball. Why you gonna talk about a baseball?
Because
nobody.
I'm for equality. I really am. But I'm not for stupidity. I'm not letting someone talk me into craziness just because it feels good and sounds good. And so, because you know what? I'm a fan of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And I'm sure a big part of their customer base. I'm not qualified to wear a bikini on a Sports Illustrated.
Way to state the obvious.
Yeah,
it's true.
So again,
that's true. But they've extended their boundaries to the.
Yeah, I know Vince Wilfork's in there now.
See?
But let me stop before I get in trouble.
You already got a headline out of it.
We're more closer in basketball to getting a woman head coach for
that's gonna happen.
And it makes a great sense because you have some great candidates out there with experience can grab respect. I think respect is between the player and the coach is the biggest thing right now because it's changing. These kids are changing. The people that they're coaching are changing.
Dante, I've said this and people have been mad at me and I'm gonna say it again on TV. In 20 years, there'll be more white women coaching in the NBA than black men. Trust me, take it to the bank. All right, welcome back to the show. I didn't get fired during the commercial break.
Not kidding. That's my dog.
Whitlock and Wiley. Dante Jones is back. Let's move to the NBA, where the drama between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green may actually be taking a toll on the Warriors. After falling to the Spurs last night, Golden State has now lost 3 straight and 5 of their last 7. After the loss, Steve Kerr acknowledged his team is in unfamiliar territory.
And I've had a dream run for 4.5 years. We've had such a charmed existence in the last 4 seasons. So, yeah, of course, this is the toughest stretch we've been in. This is the real NBA. We haven't been in the real NBA in the last few years. We've been in this dream, and so now we're faced with real adversity, and we gotta get out of it ourselves.
All right, since this dust up with Draymond, Kevin Durant just hasn't been himself shooting below 40% from the field and just 5% from three-point range.
Woo!
Look, man, Kevin Durant is one of the most talented, accomplished players in the NBA, but drama gets him off his square. And he's got some drama right now with Draymond, and he's a little bit off his square. I don't know if I'm that concerned about it, though, because I do think he'll recover.
Here we go. KD's acting out. This is a parental term, so you wouldn't know anything
Yeah,
about this.
I don't know anything about it.
Talking over here to another parent. No. Acting out. One thing you learn as a parent, probably a lot of people know this, but you certainly get it hit home when you're a parent, is that most communication is nonverbal. And also, to listen to people, because they're always telling themselves by their behaviors. He is acting out, bruh. He is sitting there going against the grain in interest because he's like, maybe I'm out of here and I don't want to play here. And this was the tipping point. Draymond calling me out and coming at me this way. When one, I'm already 1 foot out the door, but two, who are you? Like, in every argument I ever had in sports, it's always the first thought in response is, who is saying it? Because if you're not on my level, oh, this can go a lot of different ways. And I think that KD is trying to be the bigger man and not point and punch down to Draymond, the lesser player. But he's trying to respect the situation that he walked into and doesn't want to tarnish it to that degree. So he's trying to play a little respect that is unfortunately hurting his game. Help is on the way. Steph Curry is going to get healthy. He will be back. Everything will be fixed. They'll be fine. They'll win another championship. But I do think that this is signs, telltale signs that KD is out that door.
Steve Kerr hit it right on the head when he said that they've been in a dream. They've been in a perfect storm for the past 3-4 years where they haven't had any adversity, any injuries, any real injuries to the guys that really produced. They've had a great roster from top to bottom. Strength in numbers was a great team. You've had great veterans at the end of your team to nip small stuff in the bud. But there's been small trickles of these little small feuds every year, and it's gotten to a head now with KD's situation where it may spin out of control, but they're not fooling me right now. Like, they're going to find a way. They're champions. They've done it multiple times. They know how to concentrate, and this adds to the allure of the game. It adds to the season of this year because now they're going to have to find a way to piece together. They have a great coach. They have a great team. They have great players. They know what it takes to win a championship. It just gives them some enthusiasm, some excitement on their season, in which they would be bored just knocking teams around because they're so talented. So now this helps them create something and have something on their journey. It creates a better journey for them since they get so bored during the regular season.
Some guys just aren't built for this, though.
But they are.
I don't know.
I think
their
core. Klay, Steph, Draymond, and KD. They're built. They're champions. And the heart of the champion, their experience takes over. They'll be able to piece this together at the end of the year. It may make a small chink in their armor and make them, and when it comes time in the finals, when things get tough and they're a cohesive unit, and you know what, we had that small rift to where things get a little bit different, but they'll still be right at the precipice of winning a championship at the end of the year.
I really look at this one as, look, it's been an amazing, charmed experience. They're at the amusement park. It's been fun. Everybody, all four of them getting on every ride. And then you ever seen that? They get a little beef, a little issue. Now that's your ride home. So you stuck at the park with them, right? And then they like, you want to get on this one? You're like, nah, I'm good. And you're like, what? We've been getting on everything. It's been fun. You're like, no, you're just trying to get through it. KD just trying to get through this, get me home. Then I'll tell you how I really feel. I seriously think because he's not performing right now, KD can destroy this league without Steph Curry. And right now, he's using that as his issue.
Okay, but yes, KD can destroy this league, but it shows you how much of a team they are. They're like Klay not being fully healthy sometimes, Steph not being healthy, Draymond not being healthy, Sean Livingston not being healthy, not having a strong bench, Andre Iguodala not being healthy. Like, this is a combination of, I think 25% of it is the KD Draymond beef, but their team is not in that dreamland of being all the way healthy, all the way focused.
But he's shooting 5%.
But he is a reflection of the people around him, the spacing of Steph Curry, the spacing of Draymond playing well, making plays. That's what it is.
Listen, my point with KD is, and I do think they'll survive this, but when I say not built for it, I'm talking about Kevin Durant. And I think there is a skill to being able to play and perform when working with people you don't like or get along with.
True story.
And that's where I think, like, nothing. LeBron James is going to show up pretty much and give you his game, regardless of who. I don't like Spoelstra right now, but I'm still going to show up and put in this work. Yeah. I'm mad at J.R. Smith. I'm still going to show up and put in.
Kevin Love, I can't stand him.
Right.
Here you go.
Kevin Durant, I just don't know if he's that guy. The work situation needs to be a little bit more idyllic. That again, that's why he never could put Westbrook in check.
Compartmentalized.
But the back of their bench, Zaza and David West, is something that they're missing to nip all this stuff in the bud and to show you that you have to be men about your business and come to work and do your job. They have a young team this year from the back of their bench, and they're missing that strength that you have in grown men being there to get you through these hurdles and these challenges right now.
Time for my favorite segment. Antisocial. I got stopped in Vegas. People were like, you got any Twitter off? I was like, nah, I should have been carrying it.
Look at that. That's big.
All right, Darnell Smith is here, our social media manager.
Yeah.
It's good.
To help tell us what's going on out there in them Twitter streets.
Oh, man.
Oh, we got some drama. We got some smoke, huh?
Uh-oh.
We got some smoke.
With our man Marcellus,
What
man.
it do, homie? What's up, homie?
You know, last week y'all was talking about that Draymond and KD beef or whatever, and we posted a clip.
Is it?
Take a listen right here, man.
Draymond, you ain't as thorough as you are advertised. You ain't as 100 as you want to go out there and profess. You know why? Because I've never seen somebody who keeps it 100 thoroughly all the time, and then all of a sudden they explode. Because if you're thorough in all moments and all encounters, there's no pinned up energy. There's no pinned up emotion. When Draymond unloaded on Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant and his brother realized, oh, you're the guy that wants to be the bully on the block, but in reality, you're sitting there suppressing a lot of issues.
Draymond apparently saw the clip and had something to say about it. Check this out. You seen me plenty times, bruh. You don't have that same energy. So what you speaking of behind that camera makes you so thorough yourself. All right, Marcellus, listen.
What? What?
Let me put the smoke out.
If you need to ride home, today, I got
We
you,
got
Marcellus.
smoke.
Round two? We want round two? Well, you know I'm back up. No, just kidding. I ain't gonna gang back on the homie. You know this Compton thorough. Look, Draymond and I, I love the dude. We had this beef before. We squashed it in Vegas. He didn't like what I said years ago. We saw him in Vegas. What it do? He said, what it do? We squashed it. No beef between Draymond. I'm not going to have Insta issues and Twitter thugging with you. But what I said, I'm convicted on it, man. I believe it. I think that you were wrong in this situation. It's just that simple. I don't want smoke because I don't believe in that. I'm damn near twice your age. I shouldn't even be on Instagram in the first place, but it's an easy way to click through what I want to see. Let me just say this, Draymond. Respect to you, bro, and your game, but I'm not your problem. It sounds like you and KD's your problem, and you bottling some of them issues up and then finally unloading him at the wrong time. That's the problem. I stand by that.
For our suburban viewers, could you tell them what thorough means?
Thorough.
Not as thorough as. Yeah.
Oh, man.
What do you mean?
Not
by
as 100 as you say, not as transparent as you want everyone to believe in you. Like, a lot of guys walk around here and say, man, I speak what I feel and I feel what I speak. Okay, that sounds good in message, but it got to be good in actual practice. And I don't think Draymond was. I just never seen somebody unload on somebody when they told him the right thing in that moment. So, to me, hit him with a little more of that off for that, man. Hit him with
I'm hitting you. I can't believe you don't want that smoke with
Hell no, I
Draymond.
don't want no smoke. I got kids. I'm going to sleep.
Draymond beat up a college student.
I know, right? Beat up an old man now. No,
I got your back, Marcel. I got your back.
I don't need nobody.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
All right, man, let's get back to some football, where Denver upset the LA Chargers yesterday on the last-second field goal. Everyone's been high on Phillip Rivers and the Chargers this year, but Whitlock had a different take on Twitter. Take a look at this. They're going to put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame one day, and he won't deserve it. He's never won anything. Whitlock, that's a pretty strong take right there, man. You want to explain yourself?
Yeah, that's straight out of Las Vegas.
Straight out of Vegas.
Straight out of
Crazy
Las
old brother named Whitlock.
When you got the Chargers on the teaser right now at -1 and they blow that game,
Yeah, they did.
you get them kind of tweets like that. Did you see that? Marcel, you was at the game.
Yes.
He threw it into the ground and cost his team 40 seconds. What is he doing here?
Dude, I had no idea. I literally, and it was that play, and it was the play when he ran around in a circle and just curled up. And I was like, you're giving him yards, and then another time you just stop the clock? Like, no matter who you are, That's a brain fart, and that's multiple brain farts, and it costs you something, huh?
I'm gonna give myself some Twitter off.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A little too strong.
He never won anything. The dude played in the AFC Championship game with no knees. I give Philip Rivers a lot
No
of respect.
knees.
Yeah, remember he had 2 ACL injuries.
Oh, that's
Dude,
right. I
still
remember
in their
that.
beast.
All right, Darnell, what's
respect
next?
Philip Rivers.
All right, moving on to the Washington Redskins, where Alex Smith suffered a terrible leg injury in their loss to the Texans. He'll obviously be out for the rest of the year, but before the game even ended, people on Twitter took the bait and suggested their favorite replacement quarterback. Mike Freeman tweeted, Washington should sign Colin Kaepernick now. Perfect fit. Majority of fan base would accept him. Better than anything they have on the roster now. It looks like the Redskins have signed Mark Sanchez to back up Colt McCoy, but every time a QB goes down, people bring up Kaepernick. He's been on the league for 2 years now. Should Twitter just give it up?
Stop. I don't know what they paying Mike Freeman. I don't know what dirty picture Sean King has of Mike Freeman. I don't know what they're doing. Stop it, Mike. You're making a fool out of yourself, man.
Hey, man, you cost me my podcast with Mike Freeman, man. He been rescheduling ever since I got on this show with your butt. Man, what the hell, Mike Freeman? I'm still your boy. I'm with you. Mark Sanchez, though, like, look, I've never said the NFL was merit-based fully by roster construction. I never said that. That's why Colin Kaepernick's not in the league, and then the blackballing. Mark Sanchez.
He wants to play football. Kaepernick don't.
Wants to play football.
No, he doesn't.
Look, even if you don't want to play,
doesn't.
I'm going to make you want to play over Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez.
He ain't got a choice.
Dog, I'm buying me some Kaepernick shirts now after this. That's ridiculous. Mark Sanchez and
I'm
Colt
giving
McCoy.
you and Mike Freeman some Twitter off.
Oh, man, that's just ridiculous. Come on, Cap. Come back for that.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
Oh.
All right, let's talk about the Eagles, who got embarrassed yesterday by the Saints. Carson Wentz struggled big time, and Twitter was sure to let him have it. Someone tweeted, worst game I have ever seen Carson Wentz play. Someone else posted, Carson Wentz is an average QB. Don't at me. And Whitlock, I thought you would like this one. Carson Wentz is overrated. Time to put in Nick Foles. So, guys, is Twitter overreacting, or should we be concerned about Carson Wentz?
Oh, I think you should be concerned about Carson Wentz.
Really?
I think Twitter's overreacting.
Okay.
I don't think Nick Foles wants this job, or he would have been out demanding more money.
Right.
And so, yeah, but is Carson Wentz coming back to earth? Yeah, but the whole Philadelphia Eagles organization is.
Yeah, exactly. No cause for concern with Carson Wentz. Coming off the ACL injury, that first year we always give respect to that year as a mulligan, and then the year after you're at full health. Let's see what you got there. So maybe he's just a guy who's not trusting himself and all his abilities. Nick Foles doesn't want that smoke. You talking about I don't want smoke with Draymond? Nick Foles don't want starting quarterback smoke. He does not want that. He wants to take his comfortable clipboard money. So this year's over for Philly. I don't see it. Even in that division where you still got a fighting chance, I just don't think that they know which way's up. They're done.
All right, Darnell, last but not least.
All right, finally, let's talk some Carolina, who decided to go for a 2-point conversion in the win at the end of yesterday's game versus the Lions.
Ooh.
Cam Newton threw it in completion, and now everyone's questioning the decision.
Lord.
But earlier today on First Things First, Chris Carter backed Ron Rivera. Take a listen.
There's a reason why Ron Rivera got the name, Riverboat Ron. It's because he has decided to gamble and go for it. And this was not, to me, it was not a big gamble. So it's important that our philosophy stays consistent and that we're going to be aggressive.
All right, do you guys have a problem with Carolina going for 2 here?
I thought it was crazy. And I do. You in the NFC South, and New Orleans is winning every damn game, done won 9 straight. You can't afford another loss like this. You kick the extra point. Graham Gano had been terrible.
Yeah.
But you don't give up on him just because he's been terrible. If your offensive lineman or your quarterback has a few bad plays, you don't give up on them. Why give up on your kicker?
Look, I'm not mad at Ron Rivera. Whether I kick it for the tie or if I go for it too, I need one thing to happen: execute. Cam Newton, golly, like he was open. If you just execute this, we don't even have this conversation. We move on. Great decision, great execution. Cam got to execute the play. Gano, if he said kick it, you got to execute the kick. So that's not on Ron Rivera. That's on Cam Newton in this moment.
I kicked the extra point. Go
You
to
had
overtime.
money on it. You got a lot of Vegas talk this week.
Right.
Damn, I just got busted again. I needed that game to go to overtime and Carolina to score a touchdown.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there was 4.5 point spread or 4-point spread. All right. Thank you, Darnell.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the show. Time for our approval ratings. We're going to do it on Lamar Jackson. Uncle Jimmy's here to help us. You're a fisherman now, huh?
I got to do what I got to do, boy. I get out there and get my catch on. You understand what I'm saying?
You catch what?
Well, I'm just letting you know, I get America's greatest catches. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying?
You catching bass out there?
I'm catching bass, ass, or something. I don't know, but let's get it.
You catching the shakes?
That's it.
Right, for real.
Let's see a highlight from our discussion earlier today about Lamar Jackson.
Oh, my goodness.
This was Black Tim Tebow. That's what this was. And I just don't know. I agree with Marvin Lewis. I just don't know if that's sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. Let's be real, man. I think as a defensive coordinator, you came into that game, you couldn't imagine that they would run their quarterback, even as a running quarterback, 27 times. So guess what now? What happens? Every defensive coordinator said, we're going to load that box and force you to throw this football.
All right, Uncle Jimmy, that was our discussion earlier today. Lamar Jackson got his first victory in the NFL. What's your take on our discussion?
Man, here we go again. Did Lamar Jackson not just win his first NFL game?
Yes, he did, sir.
Did he or did he not just beat the Cincinnati Bengals?
He did that.
Did he or did he not just run damn near 279 yards?
I don't know about that.
Did he or did he not just do his best rendition of O.J. Simpson running through Brentwood with about 11 black women chasing him?
Yes.
I thought you were going to go airport, but...
But we can't say nothing good about Lamar Jackson.
I hear where you're going.
You know, because let me tell you something. You know what, man? I'm going to tell you something.
Get
you
out
know
the
who you remind me of? My third ex-wife, Mae Dessa.
What?
My third ex-wife, Mae Dessa. Man, let me tell you something, man. Jason remind me of her because it didn't matter what you did, Marcellus. It didn't matter what you did. It wasn't never good enough.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm laying down my demo. You understand? I'm laying down my demo. I'm going in 2 hours strong. You know, she getting the deluxe package. You understand? She getting the 2.5 hours of the damnedest. You understand? Then she gonna look at me talking about, that all you got? She better been talking about some chicken wings. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But no, let me
I'm Mae Dessa.
You
listen
made
to
that?
me.
Yeah, I got.
Listen to me, man. All I'm saying is,
Yes.
I love her.
Not enough.
I love her like a play cousin. I told her, I said, baby, I love you if you get big as a house. Damn it to hell, she took me up on it.
Yeah, she reminds you of Whitlock.
So I bought her another house. For real. No, as a matter of fact, she do remind me of Whitlock. They both about the same size. About 350. I told her, I said, man, I love you. I said, baby, I love you.
Whitlock
I said, I
lost
love you if you get big as a house. I had to buy a bigger house.
I can't.
4 rooms, 4 baths, full basement, swimming pool.
40,000 in Kansas City.
Why the hell black people buy a swimming pool and all we do is sit, put our legs in it?
Oh, yeah. With jeans on.
With jeans on.
Rolled up.
Then she gonna tell me I got to sell my house. What the hell I got to sell my house for?
it's
Talking about the
average.
chemicals in it don't match with my weave. I done had a heart to tell it wasn't matching with your eyebrows either, because she looking all like this. Why the hell I got to leave? I don't wear weave. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, nephew, and I'm serious. Man, one of my daddies told me one time.
One of your daddies?
Said the sun shine on a dog's ass at least once.
Yep.
So you was absolutely right about Lamar when you said, hey, boy, you're gonna be running around here, running through these holes like this. You gotta put some meat on your bones. See, I try to tell these women in Los Angeles that. They don't want to listen to me, my fellas. If you're gonna be running around, you're gonna be running around out here, you're gonna get hit. Get you some meat on your bones. You understand? It's winter time. A man needs something to hold on to.
Lamar.
You know what I'm saying? Look here, man. Look, if you're gonna, my daddy told me, said, son, get you a woman that can cook a goose or a turkey.
Country.
That's all I want.
Country.
Man,
We gotta go.
These women nowadays can't make nothing but reservations. Can't smoke nothing but a blunt. I need help. I'm getting homesick.
We gotta go.
Dressed in yellow, looking like a black banana.
Rotten.
We gotta go. I got Lamar Jackson at a total of 61.
61.
Yeah. Job performance of an 8.
Dang, that's low. Hey,
All-time greatest 15. He won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah,
he got overdrafted. We'll never forget it.
Overdrafted.
He got overdrafted.
Like you're gonna count.
I give him a character of a 20. Authenticity of 18, total of 61.
That's too low, man. Respect this guy. You got to give him job performance 13. You know why?
Why?
Half the quarterbacks in the league lost yesterday. He's not a part of that half. He's part of the positive side.
I know a quarterback that won.
Yeah,
He played running back. He played running back.
I know a quarterback that won.
Oh, man, all-time greatness. Look, Heisman Trophy winner. We're
Lamar
going to never
Jackson.
forget him. Character's up there, man. The dude won the press conference, and he has a good character. We're going to see if he can take this and sustain it. Authenticity, 25. He is who he is.
What
his mama's his manager.
He threw up the day before the game.
Yeah?
He wasn't ashamed. I threw up. I had bubble guts. I couldn't make it.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know
was
about that play right there.
All right.
Jimmy, help me.